up on this rock. I just climbed up here because it's one of my favorite spots where wild deer come very often. They usually have a little baby with them. It just makes me happy. And what better place to talk about growth than in nature, as my boo just said. But so today I want to talk to you about something really interesting and profound and beautiful. And it's something that I coach a lot of my clients into as well. And what this is how do you actually create growth in someone else or inspire growth? And it's not the way that we think. It's not forceful. It's not making it happen. It's not convincing them otherwise. So stay tuned for the whole video to figure out how you actually can cultivate growth in someone else. So I was journaling the other day and some ideas and thoughts and intuitions came to me, and I wanted to share them with you because I think that they will be very impactful for you. And you can look at this process as a way that you can not only support other people in growing, but also inward growth. This whole process, which I'm going to be talking about and teaching about, is self-inquiry, which to me is one of the most fundamental and beautiful ways and avenues that we can create growth of any kind. Because one of the most important things we need to do is to question our beliefs, because what that does is it questions the foundation of how it is that you perceive reality. So our beliefs are like these pillars, and they hold up our perception. But when we question those beliefs, the foundation becomes a little bit crumbly, and we can actually reassess and reevaluate, wow, do I believe this? Wow, is this true? So what I'm going to be talking about here is when you are supporting someone in creating growth, whether it's a friend, whether it's your partner, whether it's your client, if you're a life coach, or what have you, a healer of some sort. One of the most important pieces is that we, or you, do not destroy someone else's illusions. And let that land for a second. What do I mean by illusions? By illusions, I mean their perceived interpretation of reality. Some consider that a limiting belief. Some consider that just a limitation of some sort in some way. If they think, oh no, I can't do this, or that's not possible, or only those types of people do this or that. So that's, in a sense, a closed-mindedness. So how do you create an open mind? Well, you don't force it open. You can't change someone's mind. That's the whole premise here. That's the teaching. You can't create the growth. That's something I wrote down here is the secret to coaching, which is changing people's mindset from within. But how do you do that? You don't. You let them do it. So I'm going to be sharing with you a process on how you can let them do that. So instead of destroying someone's illusion or someone's perception of reality, instead what you want to do is invite them into choosing or finding a new conclusion. So I'm going to say that again. Instead of destroying their illusion, invite them into choosing or finding or creating a new conclusion. So don't say to them, no, that isn't true. Let's say they have a perceived limitation of some sort, or a belief that is actually not supporting their spiritual evolution, and you can see it. You can notice that, wow, if they didn't have this limiting belief, they'd be able to step into so much possibility, so much openness. But it's not beneficial and it's not conducive to growth to say something like this. If you say, no, that's not true, what does that create? That creates defensiveness. That creates a stronger clinging to their perspectives. Because if you say, no, that's not true, you're literally saying to them that the way that they are isn't okay. Because if someone's attached to their belief, they view their belief as a part of themselves. So if I were to look at you and say, the way that you are is not okay, would that inspire you to grow? No. So instead, try this. Try saying, is that true? Do you believe that to be 100% true? When you hear them saying something that to you in your mind is some sort of a limitation. So I want you to consider how that would be supportive if you ask a person, is that true? Instead of telling them, no, that's not true. Because it's again circling back to our point of don't destroy their illusion, but instead invite them to choose and find a new conclusion. So you cause them to start having their gears shift and change, and they're starting to look within and see, wow, do I actually believe this? Is this actually something that's true for me? Because in order to create lasting change in someone, it has to be something that they have conjured, they have chosen, because that's the only thing that's going to last. So I'll also get to, at the end of the video, the essentially secret formula, if you will, on how to actually create change, how anyone makes positive change in their life, which is really exciting, so you'll definitely want to stay tuned for that. But so that's the whole point, that is the secret to coaching, that you ask them questions. Is this true? Do you actually believe this? And you can also have intentional questioning that points them towards the direction of the awareness and the epiphany that you want them to have. But when I coach clients, I will tell you this, they don't have as many breakthroughs if I were to just share my wisdom and my understanding of life and my epiphanies, because why? They're not creating it. It's not strong for them. It's the whole premise of they need to climb their inner mountain and get to the top of the mountain, so that it's not just like I'm telling them, oh yeah, the views from up here are breathtaking, and it just feels so limitless and empowered and free and beautiful, and they can hear that and say, oh, that's great, but it's not going to change their internal psychology if they don't actually go through the motions of climbing the mountain themselves. So that's what changing our belief is. It's literally supporting someone to climb that internal mountain. But you can ask them questions like, would this maybe be a better direction? Or, I mean, let's look at this for example. Let's say that there is someone in a relationship, let's just say it's a woman, for example, and she is continuously getting hurt because she's sharing something and her partner isn't receiving it in the way that she wants. And so she's starting to feel sad. So she could make up stories about how she's not good enough, or her partner doesn't understand her, this or that. But what would an empowering, intentional self-inquiry question be that you could ask her that would support her in having the breakthroughs and liberation and emotional freedom that she actually desires, so that she can see clearly and she can choose where she wants to go in her life with a positive state of clarity and not confusion? So a great question would be, what part of you is it that feels sad when your partner doesn't receive what you're saying? So what is that question doing? It's creating space first, and it's encouraging her to look within and visit with what's underneath. That's always a beautiful place to get, whether it's your client, your friend, your spouse, anybody. It's a great place to get them to go to what's underneath, because that's how you're going to shift their internal psychology. That's how you're going to support them in shifting their mindset. But they have to create it. It's kind of like the analogy of the butterfly, which is perfect that this is on my notebook. My notebook says, just when the caterpillar thought the world was over, it became a butterfly. And you know the whole premise of, if you help I want to say blooming, a butterfly that's slowly breaking out of its cocoon, if you intrude in helping it, it will not release the amount of blood necessary to break free and to be able to fly in the future. So if you try to help a butterfly, there was a study that there was this man who tried to help all these caterpillars break free of their cocoon, so that they weren't going through the struggle, because he viscerally could see the struggle. Those butterflies were not able to fly. We cannot create transformation for someone else. We cannot create growth for someone else. We can only be the catalyst. And that's the point here. That's the teaching I really want to land for you, is that you can only be the catalyst for someone's growth. You can be the seed. And sometimes you're not even the gardener of that seed. Sometimes someone might be resistant at first, but you planted the seed. And so that shows that at some point it may grow in the future. It doesn't always have to be you, so don't necessarily be attached to the growth happening because of you, but just know that you planting the seed is sometimes enough. So remember, you're only the catalyst for their growth. And also another point here is, try not to just talk about something with someone when you're trying to incite that growth within them. Embody it. Be it. Don't talk about it. Be about it. Because if you're talking about something, it's all the more indicative of the fact that you're probably not embodying it as strongly as you could. It's very counterintuitive, but that's often how it works. If we're having to talk to our partner about it all the time, or talk to our friend about it, or talk to our client, maybe we're not embodying it as much as we thought. Because your way of being transfers so much information. So many teachings are relayed just through what you're embodying or what you are not embodying. So consider that, think about that, think about the impact that that has. Maybe your way of being can be more impactful even than your communications. Because we communicate a lot non-verbally. So back to that example of asking the woman the question, what part of you is it that's sad when your partner doesn't receive you? Well, that might give her a chance to look within and say, wow, I guess it goes back to childhood where my dad wouldn't receive me. My dad judged the things that I said. It was not logical if I was too spiritual or something. So it reverts me back to that little inner girl who's trying to protect herself. Boom, there you go. That's the breakthrough. But she had to have that for herself. It wouldn't have been as impactful if you said, maybe that's some childhood stuff coming back up again. Asking the question so that she can have the epiphany or he can have the epiphany is so much more powerful and so much more impactful. You're literally laying a new groundwork in their consciousness, in their frame of mind, and how they perceive and interact with their reality. So in that moment, she's going to reclaim more of her power, and she's going to realize, oh wow, this is my inner stuff. It's not that my partner isn't right for me. It's not that I'm not good enough. It's going back to that inner child moment. So a next question would be, how can you receive yourself in this moment in the way that you've always wanted to? And allow space. When you are inviting someone into growth, the most important thing is that you've often heard probably this expression, be a container. Well, to me, what that means is allow yourself to be a safe harbor for them. Have a spaciousness in your energy that you can wait for them to process something, integrate something, come to new conclusions. You don't need it to happen on your schedule, fast, quick. No, you can be open and allow them to feel safe to draw these new conclusions because they're literally creating a new environment for their mind, for their psyche, for their consciousness. And this can positively and drastically change the future for them in a really, really positive and empowering way. So another question you could ask is, in addition to saying, how can you love yourself and receive yourself in this moment in the way that you've always wanted to? Another question could be, what is actually the gift here? What is the act of not being received teaching in you and causing to grow within you? So do you see how my intention in that question is there, but I'm not speaking that. I'm not saying this is a growing opportunity for you. I'm asking her a question, but I'm guiding her to how her conclusion will take shape. Make sense? Good, I hope it's making sense. So you can support her to come to new conclusions by asking intentional questions and allowing her to kind of reframe the way that she interacts with her reality. So now she can actually view the experience of not being received as her cocoon, her breakthrough, her stretching, her opening, her stepping into her power, her empowerment, and she can have gratitude and say, thank you to those who did not receive me. Thank you, you're my protagonist. You inspire in me not only humility, but also inspiration to grow. So that's how we can reframe the situations in our reality and be able to glean the lesson that is there for us. Within everything, there is a lesson. So oftentimes, it's important to be able to shift or invite the shift, whether it's your partner, your friend, your client, family, anybody like that who's willing to dive deep with you, but you want to invite the shift by asking them questions to find an empowering definition so that they can find the lesson. And when they find the lesson, what's going to happen? They're not going to replay that same experience in their life over and over and over again because they've got the lesson. They're essentially upgrading into a new way of being, and that's how you can support them in creating growth for them by allowing them to kind of take the reins of their life, of their experiences, and say, I see why this is in my life. I see why this is in my field. I see why I keep attracting these experiences because I need to learn this or that lesson. So they wouldn't have been able to get to that state of growth if you hadn't have slowly unraveled a possibility for a new way of interpreting their reality. So it's gentle, it's not forceful, And it's exciting. It's really, really exciting when you can support someone in growing. It's honestly my favorite thing in coaching. And this is a process that I teach a lot of my clients. And I also coach clients into becoming life coaches. So this is one of the key things that I share with them is how do you actually create growth in someone? Well, you don't. You inspire them and support them to create growth for themselves, because that's how they heal themselves, and they conjure the muscle, so to speak, of being able to grow, of being able to change and shift and expand, because when you're not there, what are they going to do if they never learned how to grow within themselves? So you want to create leaders. You don't want to create followers. Sink into that, feel into that. If you are someone who, wants to be a spiritual teacher or a healer or help others grow, you want to create leaders, not followers. Why is that beneficial? Because then you will not always be needed for them to grow. You're going to encourage them and inspire them so that they can make growth for themselves. I mean, think of yourself in that situation. Would you want someone who made you think that growth only happened because they were there? That's not very empowering, is it? And it's also not fair. So that's why you want to give someone that empowerment so that they can rise into their truth, into their strength, into their greatness. And if you are a healer, if you are someone, I mean, obviously if you're gravitating towards this video, my conclusion would be that you're some type of healer, you're some type of coach, you're some type of someone who inspires growth in whatever form that is. So wouldn't you rather be someone who inspires people to go out and create the life of their dreams versus just projecting that can only happen because of you? That's too much responsibility. And honestly, it's not healthy, because we have to watch. Sometimes the spiritual ego can creep in, and it likes to be the one that can heal others. It likes to be the one that can, fix other things, but you have to watch that. Watch when the ego is creeping in and pull back and say, no, I'm actually going to support other people in having their own empowerment. That's why I'm here. I'm just a way shower, a guide, a soul Sherpa, so to speak, because I've walked the inner terrain of the soul, and I'm just going to support you with tools on how you can navigate and walk through your own soul, and I'll share with you my discoveries, but I'll invite you into coming to your own conclusions and your own discoveries. So that's how you actually create growth in people. So the last piece that I promised to share with you is the only way someone actually can create lasting positive change in their life is if they have these two things. Now, if they only have one of the two, they're not necessarily going to change. They need to have both. Both are paramount. Both are very, very important. And I'm sure you're curious about what they are, so here they are. If someone is going to create lasting positive change, they need to have, number one, desire. Why is desire important? They have to have that vision, that trajectory. They have to yearn to grow, because that's going to be the fire. That's going to be their propeller. If they don't have desire, they're not going to grow. So the second thing that they need, in addition to desire, is belief that it is possible. This is huge. If they have only the desire, like, oh, I want to do this, I want to climb this mountain, I want to write a book, but if in the background of their mind they actually believe it's not possible, they're not going to make change. I've seen this with my clients time and time and time and time again. And this process has actually been revealed to me that people need these two things in order to make lasting change. They need to have the desire to do so and the belief that it is possible. So as a coach, what is your role? Your role is to invite them into the possibility that it is possible. So you can ask them intentional questions. You can support them in how can they believe it's possible. Guide them back to the small wins that they've made in their life and the growth that they have been making, so that they have that inner confidence and they start to believe it's possible. And how do you create desire in someone? Well, I mean, that's a whole other video topic in and of itself, but one of the greatest things is to bring their attention into the pain that their current reality is actually causing them. Because so often people have a desire to grow that they talk about, but they also have, coupled with the achievement of that desire, they have coupled future pain. Like, for instance, if I have a desire to be a speaker on stage, or if I have a desire to be a life coach, I have a desire to write a book, I have a desire to travel to this or that country, I won't actually do that if I have an internal fear that just hasn't been voiced, or it hasn't been actually consciously verbalized or discovered. So what if my fear is, okay, once I write this book, everything will collapse. People won't like me. Something bad will happen to me, or if I experience something that's too good, something bad is bound to follow, or I'll lose the people I love. Whatever. Most people have an unconscious fear that they project and superimpose onto their desire, their vision, and that's why they're not taking action. So
So they have what? They have superimposed fear? Just so you don't forget.
yeah, I'm on it.
Okay.
I'm on that train.
Okay.
Chicka, 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 chicka. Thank you, baby. It's way longer when you're like waiting for something to happen, you know?
Yeah, it's only a minute, but still. Ready?
Yeah, so what I was saying is people usually have a fear that is correlated with that vision, which is why they're not going to take action. So your role as a coach, as a friend, as a partner, if you are someone who has been invited to support that person in creating growth, I mean, the first thing here is very important. You have to have permission from that person. Like asking them these questions like, do you want to hear my thoughts on this? Can I share with you a perspective? Because again, what does that create? That creates desire. See, it all comes back together. They have to have that desire to actually want to grow. Otherwise, they're going to resist it. They're going to protect where they are because the ego wants to stay where it's safe. The ego is going to protect where they are with everything it's got. That's why you ask questions so that the soul's voice can speak up. The soul's desire can rise and say, yes, I do want to step into this. Yes, I would like to expand into this. Yes, I would like to discover this. So asking them the questions, would you like to unpack this? Would you like to look within this? So this is a process I actually coach my clients into, and if you'd like to dive deeper into this, definitely reach out to me and we can see about coaching together. But it's a really, really exciting process when you guide someone through how they can actually dismantle that fear and turn it into just truly their vision. So it's important to get underneath. There's always something underneath, and there's always a reason why people are not creating growth that they say it is that they want. So that's up to you to kind of investigate and be their soul archaeologist and explore what's underneath, what's actually keeping them from that growth. And there's usually an associated fear that they maybe haven't voiced or expressed. So again, you get to come back to, is that true? Do you believe that? So yeah, that is essentially how you create and support growth to happen and take place when someone else, you're the catalyst. You hold up a mirror, you ask questions, you invite them into new possibility. You are a stand for possibility when supporting someone to grow. And also you can turn these internalized questions back within yourself, asking yourself something like, is that true? Do I actually believe that? What's underneath it? And what is my underlying, perhaps non-expressed fear that I associate with achieving this vision that I say it is that I want? So I hope that was helpful and supportive for you, and definitely give this video a like, a thumbs up if it was valuable and if you enjoyed it. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What are the ways that you create growth in people, whether that's within yourself or someone else? So definitely share that. I'd love to hear from you so we can open up a conversation about this, because this is really important. This is a super, super necessary topic to speak about, and it coincides with open communication, healthy communication, and not superimposing our ideas, our beliefs on someone else, because that never feels good. We want to invite someone to step into their own growth, their own butterflying, and you can't do the process for them. That's the teaching here, that it's all about really inviting them to step into their purpose, step into their power, and create what it is that they want to create by shining the light within, looking at what's not working, looking at what they actually get to shift, and that very well may be their own belief systems. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have an amazing, beautiful day. Please subscribe to this channel for more videos, and maybe you want to check out this video over here or this one. And if you are on a journey of becoming a life coach yourself, I coach people to become life coaches, and it's an amazing 3-month mentorship, and just so beautiful and so enriching, and I'm sure you'll get a lot of value out of it. So definitely reach out to me, message me if you'd like to dive deep with me and explore that. I know for me that was really, really supportive to have a coach. And in a way, it's choosing to invest in yourself and love yourself and say, my growth is important and my growth matters. And it does. Your growth will better the world. Your growth will better humanity. And your growth affects the ability that you'll have to support other people in achieving their vision and their dreams and their goals and their reality. So I hope you'll choose yourself and reach out to me for coaching if that sounds good to you. If you want to skyrocket your growth 1,000,000,000,000,000,000%, because I believe in you. And I hope you have an amazing day, and just heart this video, do all the things, because it makes me so happy. And I love you, and thanks for watching, and have an amazing day.
Boom, just like that. Good job.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and got value from it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and a like. That warms my heart so much and really, really helps me out. I acknowledge you for choosing to watch this video and getting the whole way through. You're amazing. You're a beautiful soul. And if you'd like to dive deeper with me in coaching, whether it's you want to become a spiritual life coach yourself, or you just want to dive deep and heal past your pain, past your limitations, and step into your purpose, your truth, your power, have emotional clarity, then reach out to me for coaching. It's a huge declaration of self-love when you choose to invest in yourself. And I know it can be scary sometimes, but don't let money or fear hold you back from shining your light, because you deserve to shine radiantly. Subscribe to this channel if you like more thought-provoking content. Have a beautiful day. Much love. And shine on.